Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's our new program on Pod TV, Chess Stars, and we would like to introduce, first of all, myself, Sasha Star, second of all, our great commentators, um Ken Regan, Grandmaster and Professor. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me on. Welcome to my office in the first week of a new term.
Great. And of course, Dan Fleetwood, also professor and grandmaster in the correspondence chess. Welcome to the show, Dan. How are you today?
Doing well.
Okay,
Good to see
so
you, Sasha and Ken.
yeah, great to see you all. And let's, without further ado, go right into Grand Chess Tour, which
Right,
is one of the greatest tournament of the calendar year. And it's been produced just as well as always, maybe even better, I would say. And what I noticed that the great commentator Peter Swidler, just by listening to his comments and his variations, what he showed, I think you should improve your Ella by a couple of 100 points easily.
yes. Yes,
You,
he is wonderfully well spoken in English. And I'll say, maybe a backdoor manner, that I think one of the things that has really improved his English is that he is a cricket fan.
yes, that's right.
So,
That's right. I'm not aware that do a lot of talking during the cricket games, but I think his commentaries on Crunch's tour that's probably keeps improving his English tremendously.
right. Yeah.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, who could believe that Wesley So could become a champion after the first half with all the draws? That's almost insane. I thought Caruana and maybe Prague, so maybe they will compete. Aranyan at one point looked promising situation, but what did um, Wesley So is its greatest comeback I've seen in the last little while.
Right. It should be pointed out that there were two cross currents in the tournament. There was the desire to win this tournament, very prestigious Singfield Cup, but also qualify for the Grand Chess Tour. So, for instance, Maxime Vacher-Lagrave was never really in contention for first place, draw after draw, but he did maintain his ranking from having done great in earlier events on the tour, and he is one of the four qualified to play the final in Sao Paulo, Brazil, a month from now.
Yeah, that's right. I'm still not clear. What is the system, the tournament system, is being used in St. Paul? Is it, I understand it's a combination of classical and rapid and blitz. So, what's the order of the day? Who is playing whom, and what is like how that tournament on four will be played? I have no idea. But what about you, Dan? You, yeah.
I was blissfully unaware, and so Ken probably will have more information on that. But I was just I was enraptured by Wesley So's final win to tie and then go into tie breaks. It was such a wonderful game to watch as it played out. It was inspirational to
Can you imagine that he had to first of all win this final game and then prevail in the playoffs against Caruana and Prague? So this
right.
is very unlikely, mathematically speaking. It's I would say maybe in maybe 5, 6, and 100 odds that all this would happen at once. But it happened. Well, and also Caruana, if he would win his last game, then Caruana would become Zinfield champion. So he couldn't, and so we got what we've got. But yeah, but Wesley deserved that. There is no doubts about that. Caruana seems to me he has this problem of being underachiever after his stellar performance in a world championship against Carlsen, where he hasn't lost a game 12 games, he hasn't lost even one game. Then he lost badly in Rapid, but that's a different story. And I'm surprised that it was when it was in 2018, I believe. Wait a moment, he played Karyakin in 16th, and it was 18th he played Caruana. So it's now, what, 7 years ago? So it seems to me that Caruana, I think his game is sort of becoming more precise in a way, and he knows much more about chess than at that time. But his sort of his attacks, kind of luck, preciseness or aggressiveness is not there, and he's still making quite a lot of draws. He's losing very seldom, but still does. So normally his expected result in almost any tournament is +1, +2, but it doesn't bring you first prizes, as we know.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he's disappointed and frustrated by his inability to get over that kind of final hump and get back to, or penultimate hump, to get back to where he was when he came this close to winning the match against Magnus. I guess Ken is in the waiting room and needs to be admitted.
Yeah, somebody will bring him in. Maybe Mark Lee hopefully will help. Now, I'm also believe that Caruana would beat in individual matches Nepomniachtchi and this Chinese player. I already forgot his name. Who
Are
was
you thinking of Ding?
Lin Zhen, what was his name? And finally, Gukesh. He would beat any of them in individual match. I'm pretty sure about that. If he could drew 12 games against Carlsen in classical chess, then this mere mortals, Caruana would beat them. And maybe he understands that as well, but he cannot win the candidates. And without that, he cannot play a match. So I don't know how it works out, what he has to do to win the candidates. I think he's already qualified for this coming candidates. So he has to.
I think that he should have. I mean, even if he hasn't qualified on the basis of his events, his rating should. Because I think he's back to world number 2. So.
Number 2 now, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to contact Mark to bring Ken into the studio. Hold on. Let me do that.
Here we go.
Okay. Yeah. I went to present and accidentally clicked the Leave Studio button.
Oh.
Yeah, it's too close to the presenter button. It's here, so the present is here and the leave is right by it.
And it's bolder and has a similar icon.
And it's red, which means please hit me.
Yeah. So anyway, so now I'm sharing my whole screen. So I have 3 games from the Singfield Cup. And
I was worried that you had done the same thing again, Ken.
What?
I was worried you had done the same thing again when the screen went black.
Yeah. Is it showing Gukesh versus Sonia?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, good. So this game was a demolition, and very crushed like a bug is the expression I had. But actually, if you look a little closer, it again shows what might be a difference between over-the-board practical chess and correspondence/engine-assisted chess. So we play, actually, what's first of all notable about this game is we play what often is one of the driest versions of the Berlin. It's where we keep the queens on the board, but the e-file pawns are exchanged, and often a lot of pieces are exchanged on the e-file. So, there are ways this usually unfolds. Black can play rook e8 right away, or black moves his knight. but often exchanges happen and it's difficult to drum up play. But these two players managed to create some fireworks very, very quickly. So black puts his bishop there. So black has to solve a problem of not being muscled out because white has, well, a nominal development advantage, but mostly white has a rook on the e file, black not yet. So black therefore can't really safely retreat the bishop to e7, or at least not conveniently, and that would give up the two bishops anyway. So white plays g3, and black retaliates by attacking white's knight. So now if white's knight moves, then black's bishop is going to be comfortable on e7 or f6. So white puts more wood on the fire, making black's knight move. And now suddenly we have a very unbalanced position with broken pawns. Okay. The computer is saying this is fine for black. So white plays here, black plays, queen takes h4. In fact, over the board, coming into this position, I might be a little afraid to play this as white. But let's make two more moves, and then we can see more of the character of the position. White gets in d4. And now, actually, even though black is up a pawn, it's a damaged pawn. White has two bishops, and white has a better, smoother development. And the position actually has much more danger for black. Okay, well, one thing, if the d5 pawn comes up, comes off, white will have an advantage in the center. White, even though white's king is open, black cannot really attack it. The bishop on g2 is a good defender. Whereas you can easily imagine a scenario where white is open g-file is going to lead to an attack on black's king. White has 4 pieces that can pressure the king side right away. Black has only 2 defenders there. Rook on f8 maybe really not counting yet. So anyway, so weirdly enough, the computer assigns a small advantage to black, but only with the very progressive idea of playing a5, intending rook a6 possibly, and not rushing to develop the bishop on c8, and just increasing the scope of black's position. So oddly enough, wants to play a5 and then play d6. Like, this really is 5-dimensional chess. You play this, and then I think you're going to want to play rook a6, but no, that would be a bad move. Now you play d6, okay. And then what's going on? White takes a pawn, and now you have the bishop here, but why was it important that your pawn's on a5? I don't know. I'd have to analyze this position very deeply to find out. What black did in the game seems, on the face of it, saner, but it's deeds. He played d6 first. Okay, you're going to solve your defensive problem rather than the time-wasting a5, which black didn't even follow up. But by the mysteries of chess, black will be lost in 4 more moves. Okay, bishop e6, natural move to gain development and open lines, pressure f2 if white takes it. Computer wanted black to retreat and consolidate with queen f6 or knight e7. But anyway, so bishop e6, white plays bishop takes. Now black gets rook to the e-file. This can't be bad. Now, however, though, if you look at the position a different way, black needs to do something else. The expression white has the extra pawn and the compensation will come into play. White has 2 bishops, control of the center, and an extra pawn. So unless black really knows what is something to do, this is going to be bad. So bishop c6, and black didn't know anything to do. So it turns out that the thing to do in this position is to be really brave and play on white's light squares. Do this and not even capture the bishop.
Oh my goodness.
Queen h3.
There is no chance of seeing this.
Over the board. There's no chance
way.
of seeing this.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, but there we are, a computer saying black can hold the
Oh my
line
goodness.
with this play. But now Gukesh did not run himself down on time. Gukesh still had half of his initial allocation. Um, they're playing the FIDE standard time control, so he very automatically played Rook E7. But now, after a couple more moves, black will be very obviously lost. So Bishop D2, just connecting to the rook on E1, uh, and then now D5. Okay, but white has time to prevent the infiltration on H3 and prevent the organization of white's pieces. And I think actually, even though the computer is saying less than a point advantage, I think actually black is objectively lost here. Or at least with the fact that you realize you have to play a retreating move, Queen F6, you've lost your way. And part of my reason for saying this is, in fact, white's edge is able to survive several inaccuracies. I don't think white has to be particularly accurate here. There's nothing that black is doing. White has a very obvious plan of making use of the 4 versus 2 on the queen side. So white just plays king h1, more potential energy for white's position. The g file might come into play, but black puts the queen there. This is has to be said is even awkward, because now a potential rook g1 will arrive by tempo. Although in fact I think black has knight h4. Yes. So tactically, black has knight h4. Otherwise, black would be really dead lost in this position. And this is okay. So, however, white played rook e5, and this shows as a orange move. So bishop f4, developing the bishop more accurately, might have been more to the point. And black, could have played knight h4, but actually, if you look at the evaluation, it's actually going to go up a bit for white. Let's see, famous last words. It did when I was looking at it before. Let's see.
Queen G3 probably would do.
Yeah, queen G3.
Queen G3 is the only move.
Yeah, and then bishop G4. Now the evaluation has started going up a little bit.
Yeah.
So bishop G4, and then
Now
now
rook takes.
and now knight F5. This is again some very tricky dancing.
Yeah.
White does have to worry about mate. On the other hand, after queen G2, knight takes E7. There's not any immediate threat. And as I claimed, the evaluation, well, it went up for a bit, and now it went down again. So that's the tactical way that black should have played. Instead, black played in a way just trying to relieve pressure, but it doesn't do anything about the fact that black is down a pawn, has the chessboard's weakest pawn that is due to fall, and is missing the 2 bishops to boot. So at this point, it's just hopeless. White captures the pawn. Black tries to get a little counterplay, but there's nothing to see here. Black felt forced to concede the queen. So in this position here, white's pressure is already so great that Gukesh conceded, like queen b6. I just get muscled off the board, c4, bishop c3, and raking. So had to try to make something happen, hoping now again to get pressure on white's light squares, but it's not even close to developing. And the rest of the game was just a crush. Okay, white has no problems with king safety anymore, and Gukesh gave up. So that was quite a demolition.
It was. White usually doesn't get to have nearly so much fun against the Berlin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. So I mean, props to Gukesh for trying to liven the game, but
this game is amazing.
That was Wesley So win in round 70, drew in round 8, and this game also a whole game concept by white, and we play the. So it's curious. This is the 2 knights defense. This is an opening that I used to play.
This is such an old opening.
Yeah. The most usual move is knight e4, and there's a lot of theory. And I used to love the positions playing against black's double C pawn. But strangely enough, I would occasionally lose even to lower rated players. And then I went over and I wondered why, because there's such a strategic concept, but I couldn't keep control of the position. And then when I went over the games with computers much later, discovered, yeah, the computer's giving black a 3/10, 4/10 of a pawn advantage. It's just not a good way for white to play. Well, it's okay. However, Noterbeck played knight d7. Okay, it's more of an offshoot line. And so, I mean, it probably should be fine for black. But this involves playing the knight back to b8 now in order to guard c6. Now, black does have the two bishops, and white has to be careful about c5. And white isn't marshaled to take control of c5 as quickly as happens in other lines where the knight being on e4 does allow white to develop with tempo. Like it solves the problem of developing white's b knights. The knights come out, get exchanged, and white gains a tempo. So anyway, here is where Peter Svidler, in his commentary, said that black chose an inferior strategy. Now, this is where Svidler. So continuing a theme of the previous game, this is where Svidler said what black should do either now or on the next move is plan to play a5. Rook a6, and then c5, and activate that way. Okay, but instead, black played conventionally the bishop on e6, but actually it merely created a target. So it actually accelerated white's play on the king side. And the computer actually says that Wesley So could have played queen g3, threatening bishop h6, winning the exchange, and profited by advancing the f-pawn and gaining tempi right away. Instead, So chose a slower way of wheeling this knight around to the king side. Now black could have played c5, nothing wrong with queen d7. Now he played bishop h6, and rather than f4, knight f4 was the idea. Well, this is still good for white. Black liberates, but now is where Noterbeck Avdesarov made a crucial error of judgment, pointed out by a lot of people. And black should capture on c4 to open lines, even though it's going to leave abysmal isolated pawns on the open file, and even though e6 is also a weakness. But you need to raise the potential energy in your position. The move he played creates a very static position, and it flips the script of how white things usually go in the two knights. Usually in the two knights, I want to conserve the light squared bishops, have black have the c8 bishop, and I'm able to plant a knight on c5 and control the dark squares. The problem with this position is the dark squared bishop has been conserved, and white's knight is going to be able to block on light squares. So, okay, so black has to contort himself to defend e6. Okay, white gains some time. And that's actually, again, it's a natural move. Computer wanted white to play g5, gung-ho sacrifice. I don't know, I don't want to calculate it. It's not a sacrifice because the rook on a8 is exposed in the corner. Anyway, knight g3 is certainly a natural positional move. And it also emphasizes another trump. Black's pawn is blockaded, whereas white has a mobile majority ready to go with f4 and f5. Okay, black tries to exchange the knights, but no, it's good knight against bad bishop. Okay, so white now amps up the pressure here, and white decides to anchor the queen side in a moment. Here we go, b3. So now black is slowly being strangled. So it's an interesting thought. I was actually watching the game here, and I thought black's next move was a mistake. I wasn't necessarily looking at the engine evaluations, but it's certainly a mistake to play against Viktor Korchnoi. So this is such a natural move And the usual thing, we don't care if those rook pawns are protected, because if white captures white as isolated pawns and black gets counterplay.
Why not to play queen a8 instead?
Yeah, well, are you just going to get suffocated if the queens come off? Let's see. Does the engine white? Let's see. We
But it's not losing right away. There's still a lot of play ahead.
Yeah, and here a4 now is going to make some more sense.
Mhm.
Well, actually, the all-seeing computer wants white to play a4.
Oh,
Black
clever.
really would be suffocated
Yeah.
if it doesn't take it. So it maybe comes down to tactics, how this works out. But black's going to get pinned on the a file. So
Well, you can play bishop d8 and
Okay.
then rook b7, and you can still play for the next 45 moves.
Yeah.
Without resigning.
Well, oh no, now that we've hung something. Unfortunately, we've hung c5. So
Oh, yeah. You're
Right.
right. You're right.
yeah.
Oh,
So I don't know. This is
This is a hard position for black. This
Yeah.
is just really hard to play.
so black played a4, and white simply took it.
Just took it.
When black played a6, I'm sure Victor Korchnoi would have loved to see that.
Oh my gosh.
Now-
This is amazing.
White-
I love this game. This game, it made me so happy.
why so exactly?
Oh my God. So the way that Wesley cracked the nut on the queen side is just brilliant.
Mhm. Now,
I mean, I would have never thought to set up the pawns on A2, A4, C4, stick the knight there, and just say, now I'm just going to win the game pretty much how I please.
right. There is one little exception. Black has one strategy by which to gasp for air, which is to get the move d3 and play rooks to the queen file. And after some milling about, So actually vacillated a little bit and played king f2. Okay, and here the king on f2 is an unfortunate square which gives black a tempo. And here is where you're probably still objectively losing, but this is where and when Abdusattorov needed to play this move. Now, so it's a little awkward for white. The rook defender, rook on f1 has been obstructed. So white can't take with the queen or the rook, or white can take with the queen. And if white takes with the queen, it's actually better for black not to capture on f4, okay, but instead to throw in bishop h4 check,
Okay.
and then play the rooks to the d file. And black at least, 2 pawns down, but gets some activity. So at least the blockaded logic of the position isn't there. The other thing that white can do is just ignore the pawn. And white was, so according to the chess-based commentary, white was going to bring the king to the queen side.
Yeah.
But instead, white should bring the king up now.
Yep.
Just try to prove that black's d pawn is not really doing anything, but it's there. It's a thorn in white's side. So this was Abdusattorov's one chance to escape the vise. Instead, he played queen e7, very passive. And now white is able to play king e2, carry out the queen side, and now d3 check no longer has much point. So here we go. White is completed, bringing the king to defend the pawns, which allows white's knight to rejoin the game, and the rest is just a crush with some tactical vicissitudes, but it doesn't matter. White is handily winning this game. White's knight joins. White's queen is all the squares, and so now Abdusattorov resigned because after this, and just the brutal this, it's a very easily winning position. White's king is going to enter.
Very clean.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So therefore, winning those two games pulled Wesley into a 3-game playoff, um, which where Praggnanandhaa beat Caruana in the first round, but then Wesley So played another blitz game, but a nicely positional game to win, and then held off Caruana quite comfortably in the blitz. It was a symmetrical position in the blitz to earn the crown. However, it did not earn Wesley So a place in the finals. Oops, why am I on Levon Aronian? Sorry, I meant to be on Grand Chess Tour. Here we are. Just showing these are the people who have qualified for the final. So MVL and Prague, even though Prague didn't win in St. Louis, he had won an earlier stage. Fabiano, again, ditto. And Levon Aronian, who was having a resurgence this year.
Yes.
So anyway, so there were some other good games from the Sinquefield Cup. Mehmet Ismail, who does analytics similar to mine, noted that the Sinquefield Cup was the most accurate of the super tournaments, and also the most on in terms of what he calls game intelligence, getting seeing the results of your risks and good play. So
Actually, resurgence of Aronian this year, we're talking about 2025. If you remember, Kasparov quit tournament chess in 2005, 20 years ago.
mhm.
One of the reasons that he stopped playing chess was Aronian. He was playing blitz games against Aronian at that time. Kasparov couldn't get out of the opening, either with whites or blacks.
Mm.
Wow.
Time when he decided it's time to quit.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, Aronian is exceptional, but Kasparov is Kasparov.
Yeah, that's right. But you see, Aronian is much younger than Kasparov.
Right.
And
Yeah,
Kasparov was already, he went through his prime in 2005. Well, he could still play. He shared with Topalov, Linares still, but he felt that there are a lot of younger people. Forget about Kramnik. There were beyond Kramnik was so many strong people coming up, and Kasparov's style required enormous amount of work to keep on the level that he was playing. It was his style was very tactical, and he had to prepare all the lines, computer lines, and other lines, and it just in that time he was already getting more and more involved in the politics, and he just felt that he couldn't devote so much time to chess anymore. He was
Well, I think around that time, some of the really sharp lines that Kasparov would use to score points against weaker players were actually getting busted by computer analysis, and all the so even weaker players would learn the computer analysis.
the computers were already like on top of the chess games, regardless whether you like it or not. And Kasparov realized Kasparov had very good grasp of computer and its meaning for the development of chess, and that was his decision. That's about it's the right time to quit. And if you remember, great Michael Tal, he passed away in 1992. Exactly when next year computers started more and more encroached into chess and finally started to dominate chess after beating Garry Kasparov, Deep Blue, in 1997. So Tal and his epoch was finished exactly at that time. Tal could not be useful to chess anymore by the time of his death, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No, as a name, as a popular figure, but he was so sick, and there is not even a clear cause of his death because he had so many illnesses at once that it was just a matter of time when he will expire, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And yet a month before his death, he still beat Kasparov in a blitz games. It was a Moscow Blitz Championship. And believe it or not, he beat Kasparov
Mhm.
his last days of his life.
Yeah.
So that's a story. Well, anyway, listen, thank you so much for today's program, and looking forward to see you next week, same place, same time. Have
Yes.
a great long weekend. Bye bye, everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye.
Bye bye.